Awesome. So, welcome back, guys, to another episode of Doctor to Doctor. I'm your host, Shaquille Notice, and today we have with us someone very special, Trevann Hamilton, the founder of Your Writing Bestie. Right, she has definitely been asset in regards to my journey, business journey, entrepreneurship, making sure that my wording was right, making sure that my business was just reflecting what I needed to express to the persons, to the people I was trying to connect with. And so I thought it would be beneficial to us, our community, to make sure that we know why words are medicine and how we can make sure that copywriting is utilized in the best way possible for our business, our brand, and even just our personal life. So thank you so much for joining us today, Trev.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right, awesome. So I'm just going to let you go ahead and just introduce yourself and let us know about your business and your journey.
Okay, sure. So, hi again, everyone. I'm Trevann. I am the founder of Your Writing Bestie. It's really just a boutique copywriting service business. I usually help entrepreneurs write compelling emails, blog posts, just copy in general, but we do focus mostly on email and blog posts so that they can get sales.
Awesome. Simple and to the point. Awesome. So I know you're always correcting me, always kind of breaking this down for me, but if it is that you could just explain exactly what copywriting is and how it relates to branding.
All right. So copywriting really is just the art of writing to make a sale. Blog posts, for example, are more on the content writing side, but you can include little nuggets at the end to create to form an action. You want someone to do something. So it may be to subscribe to the email list and then in the email you tell them something. So everything works as part of a funnel, but that's what copywriting is. When it comes to branding, so the brand is who your business is, how they present, how you present yourself as a business to the public, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the copywriting and branding relate because you're going to have to figure out what words to use and how to relay the message because that matters. You have some brands that are more, how do you say, like snarky, sarcastic, and so their copywriting will come out looking snarky and sarcastic, like Duolingo, for example. That's kind of how their branding is. So their copy is the same way. When I'm using the app, they would say something like, "Oh, I don't understand why you spend money on this and that instead of buying Super Duolingo, where you could learn a language." So that is how their brand as being snarky and sarcastic would therefore bleed into
Mm-hmm.
who they write their copy. So
Mm-hmm.
relate.
Okay. Okay. So it's essentially, and do correct me. Essentially, you have it's like you personify your message and then you put it in a way how in terms of see how it is that you want to connect with your niche and you give your words personality. Is that kind of it? Oh, okay. All right. Awesome. So I do have a question. So for most doctors, they will say, or physicians or person in the healthcare field, they might say, all right, I'm not a writer. I'm a healthcare worker. I'm a physician. I'm a nurse. Why should I care about copywriting?
Right. So if it is in the fact that they want to start their own business, for example, and the
Mm,
business is even within the medical field, you still need to find a way to connect with their audience and have them complete an action, which is usually in this case to make a sale. In the
mm,
case of, relating to your clients on a daily basis, some things about copywriting could help you because copywriting means you need to be persuasive. When you're doing your copy, before you even write it, you have to understand your audience. You need to know who they are, what they need. So, as a physician in your day to day life, you want to know about your clients, what their pain points are, what they need. So, if you learn copywriting for writing's sake, I really do think you can apply those principles to client relationships. otherwise. So even if you don't want to start a business and you just want to
Hmm.
talk to your friends, you can use some of the principles I think would be helpful.
Okay. So what are the main principles behind copywriting?
So copywriting, the first thing you have to do is know your audience. You need to
Hmm.
know the demographic, their age, where they're from, what schools do they go to, are they college educated, are they not educated, what hobbies do they have, what do
Hmm.
they want, what are their dreams, what are their aspirations. You need to know all of that in order to connect with them with your message. So, for example, if your audience is, I don't know, Gen Z, Gen Z is more, how do we say, they have a more fun-loving kind of vibe. A lot of them are
Hmm.
disciplined parents. A lot of them are nihilistic. They might feel, we're not doing well. We're tired. We don't want to do this. You can use that in your copy, right?
Hmm.
You have to know your audience first. And when you're a doctor, you need to know your patient. You need to know about them, what their lifestyle is. And I'm sure some of that would come up when you're taking their history. So then you use
Yeah.
that therefore to advise them. And the same way in copywriting, you use that to
Hmm.
finish your message. So you have know your audience, and you do that by conducting research. You can't assume anything. You really do need to do the research. There's many ways you can do that. There are stats online that you can use. For example, if your audience is women 30 to 35, maybe you'll find out that a lot of them are interested in fitness. You could use that.
Yeah.
You have to bear in mind the location as well and where they hang out because that matters. If
Hmm.
most of them are on TikTok, then you need to be on TikTok. If they're
I
on
get
Facebook, then you need to be on Facebook. You have to know your audience inside and out, and you cannot write effective copy if you don't know your audience. The next thing is you need to know the pain point. So, what is it that they're struggling with? What is it that they've tried before, right? You need to know all of
you.
this because if you're just going to say, oh, just download my app and use this and do that. What if they've downloaded a similar app and they're just not interested? You'd have to therefore write your copy in a way to show why your app is different from the one that they have tried before. Otherwise, you're just going to look like another app to them. So
Right.
know your audience, know their pain points. I would say storytelling is important
Hmm.
because you want to be able to relate. And I would say the story should be true. Some people make up stories, but it's good if you
Right.
have a true story of
Hmm.
someone, or in the case if it's not true, make it clear. Say, let's
Hmm.
imagine a scenario, and then you write. You
Hmm.
don't want to mislead your audience,
I
right?
get you. Hmm.
So you don't want to do storytelling. You want to, what would be another principle of copyright? Telling them what to do. I
Hmm.
mean, if you want them to purchase the book, purchase the course, tell them.
Hmm. Yeah.
Make that clear that that's
Clear.
what they want to
Buy
do.
this. Yeah, yeah, I get you. I
Because
get you. I
it's
get
very
you.
clear and direct. They use simple language. That's another thing.
Hmm.
Copywriting and content writing is not the place for you to show off that you have a degree. They
Mm.
don't care. When it
Mm.
comes to this, right? When it
Hmm.
comes to writing. Of course, if you're a doctor and you're trying to sell something medical, they do you have a degree because they want to know. But my point is, you don't want to use complicated words. The average person
Hmm.
reads at a sixth grade level. So you want to use very simple language. You don't want to confuse people. You want them to understand. So you don't have to use big words to show them, oh, I'm smart, so you can trust me. You don't use big words.
Yeah. So you said you dropped a lot of gems, and I'm just here smiling like, oh, this is so good. So let's start with the jargon. Let's start with the end first. So you said simplify. Because even on a previous episode, we spoke to one of our guests, Ahmad, and he was saying simplification is the key, right? And
Yep.
I'm a believer in that because one thing that they taught us is that don't use medical jargon when you're speaking to your patients. Break it down, come to their level, and I think that's what we need to do when it is that we are marketing when we're talking to the persons who we want to impact. speak on their levels, right? So that they can understand clearly, so that your message is communicated clearly. So I thought that was very beautiful of you to say. The next thing, when you were saying in regards to storytelling, the funny thing is that as physicians, because I attended the University of the West Indies, um, we were given a template in terms of, okay, um, you're presenting complaint, the history of the presenting complaint, the demographics, um, past medical history, drug history. And it's kind of like you are creating a template in terms of getting a story from and extracting a story so that you understand where the person is coming from so that you can make an assessment and then a diagnosis. So I think we are taught like when you've been doing something and you're like, oh, that finally makes sense. And then now you can connect it. You can connect it to business or whatever else, another dimension in terms of another faculty. So I think that was also beautiful. And there was one more thing that you said in regards to, oh, it was also so beautiful in regards to the principle. It eludes me right now. Oh, sorry, say that again.
Know your audience or be clear about the action that you
Be
want them to
clear,
do.
be clear about the action. Yes. Because what happens is that sometimes we will create this beautiful website, we'll create this beautiful template, and then at the end of the day, we're finished with our clients and we're just afraid to ask the question. We're afraid to say, okay, buy this book.
Right.
Or and at the end of the day, it's really what is your action, what is your call to action, right?
That
To ensure that you always have your call to action and it's very plain and straight,
you can have
so
it in multiple places. It doesn't have to be at the end. When people write
mm-hmm,
sales pages, which is of course a page that you create when you want someone to buy something, you're going to
mm-hmm,
include all the pain points, the storytelling, the reviews, all of that. But you can actually include multiple call to actions, the same call to action, but in multiple
yeah,
places.
right,
So you have the people that, they're ready to buy.
mm-hmm,
So that one can be first up the page. Can have one
mm-hmm,
after the reviews. Can have one
mm-hmm,
after the storytelling. And you have one at the bottom of the page. That way, the person who was convinced by the story or the pain point does not have to keep scrolling. Don't make people work to pay you. It should be
mm,
very clear and easy
mm-hmm,
to do their money. Because people
yeah,
are not workers. If it's too hard, they're just going to
mm-hmm,
leave the page.
mm-hmm, you're right, you're right. And for something that you said in terms of your credentials,
Mhm.
um, there's just there's your credentials work to a point, but after that you have to work with your credentials. So
Right.
like even I've realized that when it is that I was working in the hospital, um, the best doctors were the ones who knew how to speak with their patient. So you know how to speak with say a young child when they come in. You know how to speak with the teen. You know how to speak with the adult, the professional, the non-professional, right? Somebody uptown, somebody downtown, right? Somebody who is elderly, right? And you know how to communicate to the person who you're seeing or that is right in front of you to make the message clear, right? And I think the person who was very flexible in communicating with a large amount of the population or the clientele was seen as, oh, I want to see that doctor, right? I want so
Because that doctor knows their audience, they know their
mm,
patients, so they speak to
mm-hmm,
them in a way that they relate, and which is exactly the point of copywriting as well. So it's actually very interesting how copywriting can be related to medicine, both in
mm,
hospitals or in a clinical setting, versus even doctors writing copy for a unrelated business. It can
mm-hmm.
help.
I get you. So essentially, the it's not just about the wording, but how you use your words to connect, essentially.
Right.
So,
Structure, how you speak, how you relay the message, and who you're relaying the message to. Because
Right.
a child, you have to speak to them in a specific way versus
Mm-hmm.
an elderly person versus the professional. So yeah, that matters. And as business owners, you have to
Mm-hmm.
think, who is it that I'm trying to sell to? You cannot sell to everybody. People say, oh, who
Mm-hmm.
wants to buy my product? Oh, everybody. I want everybody to buy it. It's great for everybody. No,
Mm-hmm.
no, you have to pick a specific set of people to
Mm-hmm.
market. I'm sure you may have noticed with certain ads, they may run multiple ads, and each ad is speaking to a different set of people. That's
Mm-hmm.
possible because the truth is you may not have one set audience, but you can only talk to one set audience at a time. So
Mm-hmm.
with toys, I don't know if you really remember when they used to advertise toys a lot on TV. The
Mm-hmm.
children are the audience, but the children don't have any money.
Mm-hmm.
So they also have to make sure that yes, the ad appeals to the child, but gets the child to go and ask parents to buy the toy. So it
Mm-hmm.
includes the information. You hope the parent is watching with the child as well, all of that. So you have to really know who you're speaking to.
So I know we've been talking about like connecting with your audience, but I know for me, when I approached you in terms of helping me to create my voice, how would you advise someone to find their authentic self, their voice, even before connecting with their people? And then how do you, after finding your voice, how do you know who to approach?
So when you're trying to come up with your voice, of course, authenticity matters. So it's great if your voice is authentic to you. However, you and the company can be two different entities. In my case, me and the company are pretty much the same. The same way I speak is the same way I do my writing for the company. And it's in the name
Okay. Right,
because
right, right, right.
Writing Bestie really sounds very Gen Z, very girly pop, and that is the point. But you could be that way, but your audience is, say, business, I don't know, business executives, and you may want to be a bit more polished. So
Mm-hmm.
you would have to come up with a voice that would appeal to your audience, but at the same time, you want to be authentic because people can tell when you're not being authentic.
So
They
true.
can tell.
So
Even
true.
when you're trying your best, they can tell. So I know one strategy is to think about who or what you want your business to represent and who you're
Mm-hmm.
appealing to. So if you're appealing to like heroes, so there's a list of
Mm-hmm.
archetypes. One is the hero. That
Mm-hmm.
actually is the archetype for medical professionals. So you could Google the hero archetype, how to speak to them, what words to use. They want to be the hero in the story. And if that is the case, that's how you speak to them. As if they're the
Mm-hmm.
hero, that they're trying their best, and they're the ones showing up at the end of the day. So you really do have to, your voice has to relate to your audience, even though it's you, you're talking to your audience. So you want to make sure what you're saying is appealing to them specifically. And the
Mm-hmm.
words you use, that's something that you really have to work on because
Mm-hmm.
it does go back to knowing your audience again. Because
Mm-hmm.
what messages resonate with them? How do they like to be spoken to? That's where competitor research comes in. Who else is your audience patronizing? Where else is getting their business? How is that
Mm-hmm.
company speaking to them? How is your competitor speaking to them? What is your
Mm-hmm.
competitor doing?
Mm-hmm.
Or you could do that, you could go in that route and look at what is already being done and see how you can improve it. How can you make it better? How you can include aspects of yourself in it in a way that
Mm-hmm.
would better relate to the audience,
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's powerful. I know you touch on finding your true voice and being authentic people, knowing when it is that you are not authentic. So I actually do want to pivot, and I wanted to get your hot take on AI. Like, what's the problem with AI? copywriting that no one speaks about in terms of, is it okay to utilize AI as a tool? Do I just make that right for me? Like, what are your views on that, on AI support versus authentic voice?
So I'm not really a fan of AI.
Mm-hmm.
Most
Mm-hmm.
because of the environmental impact. It's so bad for the environment. It uses so much fresh water. Every time you type in a query,
Mm-hmm.
the servers heat up and they actually have to use water to cool them. So it's actual water, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
good. In this age of climate change, AI is making everything worse.
Mm-hmm.
On the
And I
other
saw that.
aspect of it, people would say, oh, well, it saves me time. A lot of people use it as a tool to brainstorm. But unfortunately, I find people are over relying on AI to the point where it really has destroyed the landscape of writing, honestly. Because I can always
Mm-hmm.
tell when somebody uses AI to write. It's just
Mm-hmm.
compiling other people's words and spitting it back out. So people say, no, you have to just train it. I'm like, I can still tell when it's AI. I
Mm-hmm.
remember someone posted one time two different well, not prompts, two different pieces of copy, and they're like, "Tell which one was done by AI." And I said, "Both of them. They're different, but I can tell." And that was the correct answer, because the person's point is that they could use it to refine it and make it better. I'm like, I could still tell because I feel like connecting with humans is a human thing to do, and a machine
Mm-hmm.
can't do that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? People will use it to brainstorm ideas they want, blog post ideas, email ideas. But using it to actually write the copy, I really don't like it. And as a writer, if I truly like AI, I would have just used it to write and save myself all the time of sitting down and writing. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
like what it's out. For me, it actually takes a longer time to correct AI writing than it would take for me to just write it myself. Also,
I
it
get
lies.
you.
So you'd have to still be fact checking to see if what they said is true. It will just spit out random information that's not true. Even if you ask
I
for
get you.
sources, you put the link into the search engine, the link isn't real. So it's something that
Mm-hmm.
I did play around with in the past to see how best it could help me, but honestly, I don't think I need it. Some
Okay.
people might say, it really cuts down on the time that they use,
Mm-hmm.
but as somebody who actually likes writing, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to, not that I don't want to be more efficient,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really need to use AI in that aspect. Sometimes sitting and brainstorming and going for a walk or reading a book, doing something, the
Mm-hmm.
inspiration will come and that it will come. Don't
I
have
get
to
you.
use AI.
I get
And the
you.
right about it, I didn't already say. Not good
Okay.
writing.
So I guess when using AI, just to be very careful that it doesn't destroy the whole human connection or social connection. So just ensure that you are actually tuning into who you are, actually talking and connecting with the people you want to connect and finding natural ways in order to do so. That's my
Be more
takeaway.
original because
And be
if
original.
you're asking it to do the same thing, it's going to spit out similar answers. And in business, you want to stand out. You don't
Yeah.
want to have something that's the same as everyone else. So at a point,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of business owners were
Mm-hmm.
using AI, laying off the writers, saying, well, I don't need to pay you this money to do it. I'll just let AI do it. And then you
Mm-hmm.
slowly see a lot of them coming back
Mm.
as they realize, oh, the AI is not producing the results that we want because in truth and in fact it's not connecting and it's picking out something to them that somebody else is also getting from it. And
Mm.
people always say, oh, you can train it, you can train. How about we train ourselves to be better writers? How about we do that? Because it's still a machine at the end of the day, destroying
I
the
get you.
environment,
I
and
get
we
you.
don't really need it. When it comes to even creating art, I mean, the point of art is that it came from a person. That's what makes
Mm-hmm.
art beautiful because we're all different with all different perspectives. And
Right.
that's what we want to play into. So at this point, if
Mm,
you're a business that
mm,
does not use AI, you're going to
mm.
look so much different than everyone else. And that's
I get
actually
you.
going to be an advantage at some point, if not sooner rather than later.
That was a very refreshing perspective, and I'll definitely hold on to that one. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, as we wrap up, I guess what would be for the person who is listening now, whether in the medical field or not in the medical field, what would be your advice to them in terms of sharpening their message today? What is one quick fix, if I may, that they can utilize to ensure that their message is formatted in the right way and connecting with the right people?
Okay, I think the quickest fix is to use the word you.
You.
Use you. When you're writing your copy, say you want XYZ. You had this
Right.
problem. You. Because when writing our copy, it stop saying, well,
Mm-hmm.
I did this and I am going to help you. No, use you. That's most
Mm-hmm.
important. You're speaking to the person. They want to see themselves in your message and
Mm-hmm.
tell them why your product is better, different, and would help them in relation to, say, another product that they may have
Mm-hmm.
tried. And you
Mm-hmm.
find out this information by speaking to people.
Mm-hmm.
So you ask them, you tried this product, you still have this problem. Why didn't the product work? And you use those kinds of surveys and interviews to refine your own product. You don't want a cookie cutter thing. You don't have to reinvent the wheel completely, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you need to
Right.
find a way to stand out and then communicate that with the audience. What is the pain point, right? What is it that they're actually having a problem with? Sometimes you have to dig deeper for it. They might say, oh, I just don't have enough time to do this course. Why don't they have enough time? You know,
Mm-hmm.
what is it
Mm-hmm.
that they're doing? Do they have a problem with procrastination? Maybe you can speak to that. Maybe you can
Mm-hmm.
use that in your messaging. Are
Mm-hmm.
they on their phone a lot? You could say you already spend an hour a day scrolling on TikTok. You can use this hour to, make your life better or improve this problem or whatever it is. You kind of really have to get into the person, what they're doing, and how you can help them versus what they were using before. Because the truth is, many people have tried many things, right? You're not the only person that has said, I can fix this problem. They've heard that before. You have to show them why it's actually you and not the other person, the other competitor, whatever. So that's really important. But again, speak to the person. So use you.
Okay. So I'm hearing is introspection and conversation.
Yes, you
Okay.
have to
All
speak
right.
to your audience. You can't just hide behind the business and decide, well, I think they would like XYZ. So that's what I'm going to
Mm.
put out there. And companies do it, they do it all the time. Just
They
decide
do
that
do it
your
all the
audience
time.
wants something.
They do it
And
all
then
the
the
time.
even people products that put it out there. Nobody asks
Mm.
for that. Like you need to
You're right.
ask people, ask your audience what do they want and figure out how
You're right.
you can help them.
That's amazing, and I think that's a mic drop right there. Um, Trev, I think that was an amazing conversation, very refreshing, and I appreciate it. Um, I can tell you're very passionate about what you do, your writing, and also people, and I appreciate you. And I look forward to the next conversation for sure. If you don't mind, could you just tell us where we can find you and connect with you if you want to know more?
Yes, you can go to www.yourwritingbestie.com. Bestie is BESTIE.com. You can
Mm,
find me on Instagram. You can connect with me on LinkedIn at Your Writing Bestie or at Trevann Hamilton, and then we can chat.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for all the gems that you dropped today. And we just look forward to hearing more from you here on Doctor to Doctor podcast. Thank you so much, Trev.
Thank you
And I hope
for
you have a
having
great
me.
one. No
You
problem.
too.
Blessings.
Bye.